Let's go! Auburn, are you ready for Sawyer Robertson? I mean, my goodness gracious, the last time I saw him play college football, he was destroying my Tigers. We start off with the quick screen, and we, at the end of this video, are going to come to a conclusion if Hugh is actually going to get this win. All right, so we get to his interception from this game, and was it really his fault? I don't know. He does get a little unlucky on the screen that Savion Jones was looking to the sideline. Normally in this spot, he would be rushing the passer and would probably be past this offensive tackle. But instead, it just creates a little bit more traffic, and he's right into 30's periphery. And, well, still 30 just has to catch his football, and it's a pick six going the other way, right? Nothing Sawyer could really do about that. So, Sawyer Robertson, how do you respond? Well, in order to win in football, it is a team game, and I want to break down Baylor's two best offensive players. This is Omar Abedijian, their right guard, number 68, is a really good player. You could see that 0 right here for LSU. The defensive tackle loses his footing, and Omar says, hey, I'm going to make you pay for that. And, yeah, I mean, that's just nasty. It hurts my soul to see that very thing. Center, Colton Price, is a really good player. Now, we go back to the actual route concept. This is strict man-to-man coverage right here. Sawyer likes his matchup, and, well, he's going to work it, right? It's just a simple back shoulder. The first responder bowl graphic is in the way, and look at that. Simple pitch and catch. Now, I will say, Auburn will have better corners. This is now more than likely going to be a rotational player for LSU at corner. So part of Sawyer's big day was LSU's secondary just not being all that great. I mean, you could see that this is a somewhat exotic way of playing this coverage. So you have the corner just completely crash down on the screen. Then you have the linebacker get in this window. All Sawyer does, though, and it's a pretty good anticipation, is wait for this linebacker to scoot all the way over here and then throw right here. Yes, this is great anticipation, but also the safety is just way too far back. And he's so far back that 34, Cameron, is able to bobble it a few times and still pick up the first down. And then once again, number 34. Now, I will say, that is a godforsaken wide receiver number. My goodness gracious. Auburn fans, we all know how much the number 34 means to you. Please teach Cameron a lesson in jersey number etiquette. This is just ugly, okay? But the catch is really good for a tutty. So Sawyer is not afraid to get vertical, okay? He has a slot receiver. This could be Kobe Prentice. You Auburn fans remember him. Obviously, the Alabama receiver had a somewhat up and down career with the Crimson Tide. Just a simple slot fade or just slot go. And look at this ball location. It's not the absolute best, but it's good enough. So Sawyer loves throwing the deep ball. Here's the thing that was very impressive for Sawyer. The back shoulder throws repeatedly, okay? Some of it, once again, LSU, they really went out and got some better corners. This is Zy Alexander, who is a decent corner for LSU. That ball location and the size of this receiver, Cameron, those are just really difficult to complete, right? And they were just in a rhythm in this game. So, you know, it just comes down to making plays. I don't know how I feel about Auburn's corners. Obviously, Jay Crawford is a solid player, number 23. Kayan Lee, though, obviously has had his ups and downs. He's played a lot of football dating back to his true freshman season. And this corner for LSU, number 1, Ashton Stamps, started the season, I guess, okay, but as the season moved on, his play eroded, and he just had a tough day, and this is obviously a really good throw and a really good catch in a jump ball situation. So, Auburn fans, there is some really good news down the pipeline for the end of this video, and this is going to be part of my closing argument, if you will. So, Sawyer steps up into this pocket, and he probably should never throw this ball. If anything, let's just see if he could beat the linebacker in a foot race out here to the right. But instead, he throws his football into heavy traffic. And once again, I have no idea what happened to the LSU DBs at the end of the year. Dropped INT straight into the arms of the Baylor wide receiver. And then we get to here. Once again, it's still just simple completions, right? Look at how far back these corners are playing. This is an easy read. Honestly, this feels preseason-y in many ways. I watch a lot of NFL preseason football for my NFL channel where the coverages are so soft. And Baylor, like many modern offenses, they do number checks, right? So Baylor is showing a counter right here, and all Sawyer has to do is read his numbers, right? You take a look at this linebacker. If you feel he's pinned in enough and the safety is far back enough, you throw this football into the flats. There's an extra benefit to this if this safety backs into a middle of the field close coverage, and Baylor gets exactly what they want. This safety flies into the box. This safety is going center field, and this is an easy pitch and catch reception. Linebacker is really pinned in. This was a true freshman right here who I've interviewed, by the way. Good kid, Tylen Singleton. But that is a long distance for him to make a play. And obviously, the Baylor receivers do have some wiggle after the catch. Okay? So you would like to think Baylor, or should I say Auburn, will have better defenders when it comes to making these types of tackles. And at the very least, LSU was able to prevent the touchdown. So what happens? Well, on the very next play, they just basically do the same thing. They're like, hey, we like our numbers. You're playing your safety so far back. Let's just play pitch and catch. LSU a little late to fill this. And once again, this is just walk into the end zone. Ugh. A little bittersweet if you're a Baylor fan watching this. Devin Pendergrass, your second leading rusher, out for the season before this big game versus Auburn. Just a solid back, had a touchdown earlier in this game, and once again, it's just an easy completion into the flats. And once again, you need guys that could step up and make tackles, right? LSU, this was not an amazing tackling display by any stretch of the imagination. Baylor did have snap issues. I'm not showing you a play where they actually did snap the football over Sawyer's head on a 4th and 1. And the thing is, Sawyer does have some speed, right? LSU, lots of backups in. Whit Weeks, normally the guy that chases down quarterbacks. He got hurt earlier in this game, but this is part of what he can do. This will be something that you see because pretty much every team runs this play. In fact, this was the big completion for Dylan Gabriel's preseason game from yesterday. It's flood, right? That's what it's called, a flood concept. It is a vertical here. Your inside receiver runs an out, and then you have a running back into the flats. It's honestly a better zone beater than man beater, but it can work versus man as well. And you could see Sawyer throws this and hits his receiver down the field, okay? Honestly, not the best coverage from LSU there, and it's a first down. Just to show you how casual this bowl performance was from the LSU defense, number one, the spacing of these DBs, it's not the absolute best, but watch what actually happens here at the snap, okay? Boom. All right, they're running into each other back here, and believe it or not, it's not either the DBs who ran into each other that lost their coverage responsibilities. It was somebody else. And obviously, this ball is not the best thrown ball. You can see on some of these deep balls, if they were perfect, the receiver would have been able to score. 11 was the victim of that twice, but it is a first down. And this is going to be obviously a big thing for Auburn. Everybody knows Auburn's defensive ends, led by Kedrick Falk, are going to be good. But who is going to step up at defensive tackle? And I do think this Baylor offense is really going to push these DTs, right? They get a double team right here. And once again, that is another true freshman that LSU has playing. And look at this hole that they're able to open. I mean, that is ridiculous stuff. And, well, the running back basically scores untouched. So, Auburn fans, I want to throw a flag on the play on myself for this breakdown. I am currently shirtless because our air conditioner is out and it is currently like 90 in this house. That's how hot it is. And at the end, I'm going to spit out one freaking hot take for you. This performance from Sawyer Robertson was overrated, right? So many people have pointed to this 445-yard game. Lots of simple throws, lots of really bad defensive back play. And, well, Dave Aranda's defense wasn't too much better, and you Auburn fans know how good of a DC Dave Aranda is. So we could do a different video on that if you want to. But the truth is, there are probably other games that you could break down of Sawyer, and you could see what makes him a very good quarterback. He had quite a few 300-yard games outside of this 400-yard outburst. And, man, he's got mobility. He's got size. He's got moxie. I do like the creativity. This wide receiver leaks into the back, and the ball is just slightly overthrown. This would have been a nice little buzzer beater touchdown. But part of why this game and some of these other games that he had that were good, they were kind of track meet types of games, right, where Baylor was playing from behind, and that obviously helps out a passing environment. So, you know, for me, you could clearly see the talent. You could see the athleticism, but I like Auburn winning this game, 31-26, my final score, because I'm a little bit higher on Auburn than most. I could be totally wrong about that. In fact, I've been fading it some in recent weeks, but you playing Tigers, let me know. It is pow out SEC boom. Tonight, we're doing chicken strips.